Welcome back to the deep dive. We're here again to really get into some fascinating material, pull out what matters, and, help you get properly informed. Today, we're jumping into something that feels incredibly practical and honestly, pretty inspiring too. We're not just going to look at what someone built, but we'll trace how they built it, like from absolute scratch. And this is the really key part, how you take that technical skill you just picked up and turn it into a real career step, like something tangible. Okay, let's unpack this. Today's deep dive is all about turning an idea, just an idea, into something you can actually deploy, something valuable, and then figuring out the strategy. How do you use that thing you built to maybe launch a freelance career? It's kind of a full circle journey, isn't it? From writing code to, well, hopefully cash.
Yeah, and what really jumps out at me from the sources is just how methodical it all is. It's like a detailed blueprint, not just for the practical side, the application building, but also, maybe more importantly, for, well, self-empowerment. It really shows how, structured learning, when you combine it with disciplined execution, just doing the work, it can lead to pretty big things. It proves that if you have a clear plan, those ambitious goals, they're definitely within reach. It makes you wonder, right, how can we take this kind of structured success and maybe replicate those principles elsewhere in our work, maybe even personal goals? It's way more than just coding. It's about building real capability and that solid confidence.
Absolutely. And that a question, that's exactly what we'll circle back to later. So the source material we're digging into today, it's really good. It lays out this detailed step-by-step guide for a project they call Operation Clean Slate. And the specific thing being built is the scraper API. What's neat is how it builds on skills we've maybe talked about before. Like, if you followed along with that summarizer project, it shows how one success kind of leads into the next. Then after the build, the material shifts. It becomes the strategic guide for getting ready for freelance work, maybe on a platform like Upwork. And it all wraps up with this really powerful kind of introspective reflection on achievement, on self-reliance. So our mission today, let's pull out the essential bits from this detailed plan. Let's really see how the technical skill meets the real world, how it gets applied, and maybe explore that mindset shift, going from just being a developer to being a confident, capable freelancer.
And stepping back, it's really about seeing the whole picture, the entire life cycle of a practical project. Think about it, from that first idea, the basic setup, all the way through building it, deploying it, getting it ready for the market. And, crucially, the personal growth that happens along the way. Every step of it. It's a really comprehensive look, not just the what's and how, but also the why and maybe what comes next.
Well, this isn't just like a technical exercise. It's more like a strategic roadmap for becoming more autonomous professionally.
Okay, so let's jump right into Operation Clean Slate and this blueprint for building the scraper API. The sources are super clear on why this specific project was chosen, and it boils down to a few key things. First off, it's a core skill, something freelancers get asked for a lot. Businesses, big or small, they always need data, right? Maybe they're checking competitor prices or doing market research, finding opportunities, or just gathering info from different websites. Being able to grab that data automatically, programmatically, that's always in demand. Seriously robust demand. If you can build this, you're solving a real problem clients actually have.
That's absolutely spot on. Choosing this project specifically for a portfolio piece. It's incredibly significant if you're aiming to freelance. It's simple enough, the core idea, that you can deploy pretty quickly. You can show a working solution without getting totally bogged down in complexity. But at the same time, it tackles a genuinely high-value need for clients. That's the sweet spot. And steering with lightweight stuff, common libraries like Request and Beautiful Soup, that just makes the whole development and deployment process smoother, less friction. That itself is a huge lesson for, rapid prototyping, for effective freelancing. You want to get working examples out there fast, showing value reliably. Simplicity here isn't a weakness. It's actually a strategic plus.
Yeah, and technically speaking, it's just a smart choice because the main tools, the dependencies, they're super lightweight. You're basically just using requests to, talk to websites, send those HTTP requests, and Beautiful Soup to nicely parse the HTML you get back, which means the app itself is kind of designed to deploy easily from the start. You're probably not going to hit those frustrating memory limits or timeout issues you sometimes get with heavier apps. Plus, it cleverly builds on FastAPI skills you might already have, while also introducing this new super useful library for web scraping. It's a practical skill, straight up. Makes your toolkit broader, makes you more marketable.
Exactly. And choosing Request and Beautiful Soup is really strategic.
Yeah.
They are like the standard tools for this kind of web scraping in Python. Everyone uses them. This project isn't about some obscure framework with a crazy learning curve or limited use. No, it's about showing you're good with the fundamental, widely used libraries that solve real, common business problems, like right now. That focus, that simplicity, it's actually its biggest strength in a way. It makes the solution really attractive to clients who just want reliable data extraction without adding unnecessary complexity or weird dependencies that might cause headaches later. It kind of shows, how to pick the right tool for the specific job.
Okay, so we've got the why. Let's get into the how. Phase 1, foundation and local setup. The source suggests you can knock this out in about the first hour, which, wow, emphasizes efficiency. So step 1 seems basic, but it's foundational. Create a new folder. Right on your desktop, maybe. Name it Project 02 Scrapperoppy. Simple. Your project's home.
And yeah, it sounds trivial, creating a folder, but it's actually the very first step in professional organization. It's like setting up a clean workbench before you start building something complex. It immediately signals you're being disciplined about it, prevents clutter later, ensures your project starts on a solid, structured footing, that little detail. It sets the tone for maintainability, which clients definitely care about.
Right. Then, inside that nice clean folder, you open your terminal. Git bash is often recommended, especially on Windows, for those Unix-like commands, and you run git. And now, for anyone new to this, Git is your version control system.
Okay, get it. This isn't just typing a command. It's like the birth certificate for your project's version control. Think of Git as, I don't know, your project's time machine. And it's detailed historian. It lets you track every single change, every typo fix, every big new feature, everything. So you can experiment without fear, right? Knowing you can always jump back to a version that worked if you mess something up. For freelancing, absolutely essential. Makes collaboration easy if the client brings someone else in. Makes debugging easier because you can see when a bug appeared. And it just gives a clear history of your work. Clients value that transparency, that sign of professionalism. It's your safety net, really.
Okay, right after that, the guide says run a venv-seed. This creates your virtual environment. The source calls it creating a clean room from the start. I like that analogy.
The virtual environment, yeah, using a venv-seed, crucial. And clean room is the perfect way to put it. Think of it like having a dedicated workshop just for this project. You wouldn't mix your woodworking tools with your car repair tools, right? It'd be chaos. A virtual environment isolates all the libraries your project needs, the specific versions from your main computer's Python setup, and from your other projects too. This stops those annoying conflicts later, like when Project A needs version 1 of a library, but Project B needs version 2. It guarantees reproducibility. So when you deploy your API or someone else works on your code, it behaves exactly the same as it did on your machine. It basically kills that whole, well, it works on my machine problem.
So once you've created it, you activate it. On Windows, it's usually something like .venv scripts activate. On Mac or Linux, probably source.venv bind activate. Activating it means any libraries you install next, any Python scripts you run, they happen inside this isolated environment. Keeps everything neat.
Exactly. Activation is the key switch. It points everything, package installs, script runs to this specific isolated space. If you forget to activate, you might accidentally install stuff globally, messing up your system, or your project just won't find the right library versions it needs. It's what makes your project truly self-contained, portable, ready for deployment anywhere.
Then a really critical step the source bangs the drum about. Create a .gitignore file immediately. And you add 2 lines, .venv and .env. The source says this is the first thing you do.
Oh yeah, gitignore right at the start. It's such a fundamental best practice. Beginners often skip it, but it instantly makes your project look more professional. Its job is simple. Tell Git what files and folders to just ignore. Don't track them. Don't push them to GitHub. Excluding .venv is vital. That whole virtual environment folder. It can be huge, platform specific. You just don't need it in your shared code. Anyone can recreate it from requirements.txt and .env files. Those are for secrets. API keys, database passwords, stuff like that. You never want to accidentally commit those to a public repo. Huge security risk. So putting .env and .gitignore prevents that common, potentially disastrous mistake. It's basic security hygiene, good for collaboration, keeps the repo clean. Clients expect this.
Okay, after .gitignore, it's time to pull in the main tools. You run a pip install FastAPI Uvicorn request beautiful soup for. This gets all the libraries we need for the API, installing them neatly inside our activated virtual environment.
Installing these specific ones right now ensures you have the core toolkit ready, correctly versioned, inside that isolated space. So FastAPI is the framework for building the API itself. Uvicorn is the super fast server that actually runs your FastAPI app. Think of ASGI, which Uvicorn uses as like the modern high-speed way for Python web apps to talk. Much faster, handles lots of connections. And requests in Beautiful Soup 4, like we said, those are your essential web scraping tools for this project. Keeping the install focused like this keeps the environment lean, efficient, just what the project needs.
And right after installing them, to make sure anyone can replicate your setup exactly, you generate requirements.txt. You run uv pip freeze requirements.txt.
Generating requirements.txt. That's not just a chore, it's like your project's insurance policy. Seriously. That file lists every single library your project uses and exactly which version. Without that precise list, your beautiful code could easily break on someone else's machine or on the server. It guarantees reproducibility. Cuts down debugging nightmares caused by mismatched environments. When you deploy, or another dev joins, they just use this file to install the exact same environment you used. Consistent behavior, guaranteed. It's the unsung hero of smooth collaboration and deployment. Your client server gets the same working code you tested locally.
All right, to wrap up this foundation phase, you make your first commit.
Mm.
So git add to stage all the new files you created. Then git commit -m initial commit, project setup and dependencies. Marks a clean, professional starting point in your Git history, captures that stable initial setup.
This initial setup phase, often rushed, is precisely where the foundation for a robust and deployable application is truly laid. I totally agree with the source on that. It's like putting in the rebar before you pour the concrete for a building. A solid initial commit gives you that clean slate to roll back to if things go sideways later. And it just shows you're organized right from the start. It's a professional look.
Okay, foundation's poured, Git's watching our back. Now for the fun part. Let's get into phase 2. Build the core application. The source estimates this as the next 1-2 hours. This is where the actual code happens. You start by creating a file, main.py. This is going to be the heart of our API.
Right, main.py. That's the main entry point for our FastAPI app.
Yeah.
All the core logic, the API endpoints, the rules of how it works, it's all going to live in there. It's the brain, basically.
And the core idea is pretty neat, quite simple, really. Build an API in Python. It takes a URL, someone sends it, goes to that URL, scrapes the page title from the HTML, and sends that title back. The source gives the exact Python code, aiming for clarity and function. First, imports. We need requests for the web stuff, FastAPI for the framework, HTTP exception for handling errors nicely, base model from Pydantic for checking the data we get, and Beautiful Soup for parsing HTML. Then we create our FastAPI app instance.app equals FastAPI.
Yeah, choosing FastAPI here. Excellent choice, especially for building solid APIs quickly. FastAPI is known for being fast, obviously, but also for automatically creating that interactive API documentation, the Swagger UI. And its data validation using Pydantic is a huge win. Pydantic, through base model, lets you define exactly what kind of data your API expects, like that scrape request model, which says I need a URL and it must be a string. That's not just convenient, it's like a security guard. It checks the incoming data before it hits your main code, stopping bad or wrongly formatted data from causing trouble, ensures the data is always what you expect, leads to much more reliable, secure, easier to debug APIs.
Yep, that scrape request base model defines that expected URL string. Then we get to the main endpoint at app.post. Scrape title. This is where the action is. Takes a URL, returns the title. Inside, it uses a try.accept block. Really good practice for making it robust. It tries to send a getDD request to the URL the user provided. Smartly includes a 10-second timeout so it doesn't just hang forever if a site is slow. And then, crucially, it checks if the request actually worked using response.raise for status.
This demonstrates a complete functional API endpoint, encapsulating robust error handling and practical web scraping logic from the get-go. That try.accept block. Absolutely critical for any real app, especially one talking to the network. I mean, imagine if your API just crashed every time a website was down or someone said a bad URL. Terrible experience for the user, right? By wrapping the request like this and getting request.exceptions, request exception, it handles all sorts of potential problems gracefully. Network issues, bad URLs, DNS failures. Instead of crashing, it raises that HTTP exception with a clear error message. Tells the client what went wrong, specifically. That's a sign of a professional, production-ready app.
So if the request is successful, Beautiful Soup steps in, parses the HTML content from the page, turns it into something Python can navigate. The code then cleverly uses soup.find title to pinpoint the actual title tag in the HTML. If it finds one, it grabs the text inside using title.getText. And what's really smart is it checks, if not title. So if a page doesn't have a title tag, it handles that too, just returns a message saying, no title found. It's pretty straightforward, really effective, and thinks ahead about common issues.
The elegance of Beautiful Soup really comes through there. It hides all the messy complexity of parsing raw HTML, which can be pretty inconsistent sometimes. It lets you just navigate the structure and pull out what you need, like the title, with simple commands. This project uses it perfectly for this job, parsing generally well-formed HTML to grab structured data like a title. Now, if you're dealing with super dynamic sites, lots of JavaScript, or heavy anti-scraping stuff, you might need heavier tools like Selenium or Playwright. But for this common case, Beautiful Soup is the sweet spot. Simple, powerful enough, and yeah, checking, if not title, shows great foresight, makes the API tougher, more resilient, handles those edge cases where a page isn't perfect. Good example of building resilience in.
Besides the main scrape title endpoint, there's also a simple root endpoint at app.get. It just returns status, scraper API is running. Perfect for a quick health check. Small detail, but useful.
Oh yeah, a simple root endpoint like that is super handy. For checking status, especially during deployment or for monitoring later, gives you an immediate, lightweight, yep, I'm alive, signal without needing to run the main scraping logic. Simplest way to confirm the service is up.
Okay, so code's written. Next step, test it locally, make sure it actually works before we send it out into the world. You run Uvicorn main.app reload in the terminal. That starts your API running. Then you just pop open a web browser, go to http://127.0.1.1.8.0.0.0 docs, and boom, FastAPI's magic interactive docs appear thanks to Swagger UI. You can use that web page to test your scrape title endpoint directly. Give it a URL like https://www.google.com, hit execute, and see if it returns the title. Instantly verify it works.
The value of those automatic interactive docs from FastAPI, can't really overstate it. Makes testing during development way faster, sure. Yeah. But more importantly, it's like a live, runnable manual for anyone who uses your API. Other developers, clients, even you 6 months from now trying to remember how it works. It gives this clear interface for every endpoint. You can try things out, see exactly what data to send, what you'll get back, all without writing any client code yourself. Huge boost for development speed, client demos, just makes the API easier for everyone to use. It's like a self-demonstrating user manual.
And finally, just like before, once you've tested it, confirmed it's working beautifully. Commit your work, git add main.py, then git commit-m feat, implement core title scraping endpoint, another solid checkpoint in your project history, locks in that major functional piece.
Committing right after adding a big piece of functionality like that, it's not just ticking a box. It keeps your project history clean, logical, creates this distinct point you can always go back to. If problems pop up later, it's much easier to figure out if they started with this change. Makes debugging way more efficient. Key part of keeping the code base manageable. Any professional client will appreciate seeing that discipline.
All right, phase 3, time to deploy to the world. The source is pretty optimistic, allocating the final hour for this. This is it, turning your local code into a live public application. First step. Head over to github.com, create a new repository, make sure it's public. The source suggests naming it something clear, like FastAPI, Scraper API.
Yeah, having a public GitHub repo, absolutely necessary if you want to showcase your work, especially for freelancing. It's your main digital portfolio. Potential clients can actually look at your code quality, see how you structure things. It's tangible proof of your skills. A well-kept public repo. It signals professionalism, technical skill, transparency, all things clients look for. It's basically your global shop window.
So once you create that repo on GitHub, it usually gives you the exact Git commands you need right there on the page to connect your local project folder to this new remote home and push your code up. Typically looks like git remote add origin URL, then maybe git branch-m main to make sure your main branch is called main, and finally git push a u origin main. Run those, and all your code gets sent up to GitHub. Publicly visible, ready to go.
Those Git commands, yeah, standard procedure. Links your local work to the cloud version on GitHub, synchronizes everything, makes your project discoverable, version controlled remotely, and importantly, ready for deployment services like render that hook into GitHub. It's the bridge from your machine to the internet.
And now, the deployment itself. Using render.com according to the source, the process sounds pretty smooth. Go to render, create a new web service, connect it to that FastAPI scraper API repository you just pushed to on GitHub. Then you tell render 2 critical things. 1, the build command .install-r requirements.txt, remember that file, tells render exactly what libraries your app needs. 2, the start command .uvicorn main.app host 0.0.0.0 port PUART tells render how to actually run your FastAPI app once it's built, and the source explicitly says deploy on the free tier, which is awesome.
This is truly where the rubber meets the road. Successful deployment validates the entire development process. Couldn't agree more. It turns your code from just files on your computer into a live service. And the simplicity of those build and start commands for render. Big advantage for getting portfolio pieces up quickly. Render's free tier is just incredible for developers starting out. Lets you get real-world deployment experience, host live apps, all without paying anything. This makes your portfolio pieces real, not just code, but working apps clients can actually click on and interact with. That's way more powerful than just showing code. It's undeniable proof you can not only build stuff, but get it out there working for the world.
The source material sounds really confident here. It says, this project is lightweight, it will deploy without memory or timeout issues, it will work. That's pretty strong belief in the process and shows the benefit of those earlier design choices.
Well, that confidence comes directly from picking those lightweight libraries and keeping the API focused on one clear job. It avoids the common traps that cause deployment headaches, like using too many resources or having complicated build steps. Reinforces that idea of building simple, solid solutions first. That focus on efficiency and reliability from the start makes it genuinely deployable.
So by the end of all this technical work, you've actually achieved something pretty substantial. You've got that deployed summarizer project from before building on that success. And now you have the scraper project, either just about to be deployed or maybe already live on render. Your portfolio is starting to look solid. 2 demonstrable projects. That's real, tangible progress.
And that approach, building one thing, learning from it, applying those lessons to the next, it's just super effective for building skills and confidence. It's not just about collecting projects, it's about refining your whole process, internalizing the good practices, and building that undeniable confidence with every successful launch. Each project isn't just another item in the list, it's proof of your growing capability.
All right, tech build, deployed successfully. Now for that big shift. Phase 2. From workshop to storefront. Preparing for the freelance hunt. This is where strategy comes in because, like the source says, a portfolio is useless if no one sees it. Makes sense. We're moving from the deep tech build to the very practical goal. How do you actually make money with these skills? Your arsenal, document all your prepared info, bio, project details, that's your ammo. Your freelance profiles, those are the weapons for the hunt.
Yeah, and this really hits on that key question. How do you effectively bridge the gap between technical competency and market visibility? This phase maps that out. It stresses that just being a great coder isn't enough to succeed as a freelancer. You need a deliberate plan, a strategy to showcase those skills, attract the right people, turn your expertise into income. Without that strategic bit, even the best developers might struggle to find gigs. It's all about effective self-marketing.
And for this specific mission, the source zeroes in on Upwork, explains it simply. One of the largest platforms for freelance developers. Basically, it's a huge marketplace. Lots of clients are already there, actively looking for tech talent just like you.
Focusing on a big, established platform like Upwork makes a lot of sense, especially when you're starting out. It gives you access to this huge pool of potential clients right away. Takes away some of the initial struggle of just finding leads. Sure, there are other platforms, but concentrating your effort where the demand is high just makes getting started more manageable, more efficient. Go where the fish are, basically.
Okay, so task 1 in this phase, simple but vital. Create your Upwork profile. Go to upwork.com, sign up, make sure you sign up as a freelancer. But there's a detail here the source really highlights, something easy to overlook. Your photo. Use a professional one. No sunglasses, no group shots, no blurry selfies. Just a clear, well-lit headshot. Why? It builds trust. That's what the source says.
Oh, the photo matters. Hugely, especially for remote work. Think about it. Clients are hiring someone they've never met. A clear, professional photo. It instantly makes you seem more reliable, serious, approachable. It signals you take yourself professionally, so you'll probably take their project seriously too. First impressions matter immensely, and online, your photo is often that very first impression. It's step 1 in building credibility, breaking through that anonymity online.
Profile created. Photo up. Now, task 2. Crafting your profile using your arsenal document. This is where all that prep work you did comes into play. First, your title headline needs to be a quick one-liner pitch, something that grabs attention, says what you do clearly. The source gives a great example. Python developer, FastAPI, and AI-powered APIs, web scraping and automation. Let's break that down.
That headline works so well because it's packed with relevant keywords. It's clear, specific, and hits those high-demand skills you've just showcased, including things like web scraping, AI-powered APIs, FastAPI. It means when clients search for those exact terms, you're more likely to pop up. It targets the right kind of job post, the ones that actually match what you can do. Being specific like that helps cut through the noise, gets you noticed by the right people.
Okay, then the profile overview summary. The advice is to take your existing professional bio and weave in your new scraping skills, the specific tools you used. The source provides a really solid example. It starts like, I am a back-end developer with a focus on Python, FastAPI, and building practical, efficient solutions for the web. My passion is turning complex requirements into simple, functional, and well-documented APIs. Sets a good tone right away.
Yeah, that opening does a great job. Establishes expertise and passion, sets a professional, positive vibe. It's not just listing skills. It's defining who you are as a developer, what motivates you. That can be really appealing to clients who want someone invested, not just a hired gun.
Then it breaks down the skills into bullet points, makes it super easy for a busy client to scan. Includes things like API development, building fast, reliable, RESTful APIs with FastAPI, web scraping, extracting data from websites using tools like requests and Beautiful Soup, AI integration, creating services that leverage AI models for tasks like text summarization. Remember that other project? Deployment, taking applications from local development to a live public server on platforms like Render, shows the full cycle, and it wraps up nicely. I'm a dedicated problem solver committed to delivering clean code and clear communication. Let's build something great together.
That whole summary, structured like that, it clearly communicates your value, your skills, and your professional approach. This isn't just a list of technologies, it's a narrative of problem solving and reliability. That's exactly right. And explicitly mentioning clean code and clear communication, that tackles common client worries head on about maintainability, about working together smoothly, builds trust before you even talk to them, shows you're a professional who gets the bigger picture, not just a coder, tells them what you can do for them and how you'll do it.
Next up, hugely important for showing, not just telling, the portfolio section. The instruction is clear. Add TDLO portfolio items. Item 1, your AI text summarizer project. Use the GitHub repository link. And this is key, include that note in the description, the one acknowledging that deployment is limited by the free tier hardware.
That honesty about the free tier limits, it's actually really smart. It's not a weakness. It shows you're transparent professional, that you understand real-world deployment stuff like costs and resource constraints. This builds trust, showing you understand real-world infrastructure.
Exactly.
It shows practical understanding. Clients appreciate that. It means you're thinking realistically about hosting and managing apps. Turns a potential negative into a sign of practical wisdom.
Okay, and item 2. The scraper API you just built, the instruction is add this as soon as it's live on Render. Use the live render URL as the link, direct link to the working app.
Nothing, and I mean nothing, beats a live working application. It's proof of concept in its most compelling, undeniable form. Absolutely. A live demo. It just cuts through all the talk. Clients can click it, use it, see instantly that you can deliver something that works. They don't need to read your code or have you explain it. They can just see it function. Probably the single most powerful part of your profile. Immediate, tangible proof of your value.
Okay, now for maybe the trickiest part for newcomers. Setting your hourly rate. The source gets that this is tough, but the guidance is clear. Start low, like $10, $15 per hour. Might feel wrong after building something cool, right? Like you're undervaluing yourself.
But there's a solid reason for it, that initial low rate. It's a strategic Trojan horse.
Yeah.
That's a good way to think about it. Your first goal isn't maximizing income right away. It's getting those first 5-star reviews. Those reviews are gold. They're your social proof, your entry ticket into the marketplace. They build credibility, show other clients you're reliable. That's worth way more than a few extra dollars on your first couple of jobs. Get a few great reviews under your belt, build that reputation. Then you can start raising your rates. More clients will come, better paying jobs will open up. It's playing the long game. Sacrificing a bit now for much bigger potential later. It's an investment in your future freelance career.
So, end of this whole process, the immediate goals are super clear, totally achievable. 1, a live, working scraper API deployed on Render out there on the internet. 2, a complete, polished Upwork profile. Not just a list of stuff, but a compelling pitch, ready to attract clients. Like the source says, this is the next logical step. We are moving from the workshop to the storefront.
It's a really deliberate shift, isn't it? You go from focusing inward on the details of building, perfecting the tech, to focusing outward on marketing, presenting yourself, connecting with clients effectively. It takes a different mindset. Different skills maybe requires that strategy we talked about, but it's absolutely necessary if you want to turn your tech skills into an actual freelance career. It's the difference between being a great builder and being a great builder who actually gets paid for building things.
Wow. Okay, so we've tracked this whole transformation. Blank screen to a deployed, ready-to-go asset. Covered the tech build, the freelance prep strategy. But the source suggests the biggest change isn't just the code, it's inside you. Expert, how does this go beyond just tech steps? How does it become like personally profound?
Yeah, this reflective part of the journey is absolutely crucial for really absorbing the lessons. It shifts the focus from just, learning Python or FastAPI commands, to recognizing what else you built. You built resilience, right? Develop those problem-solving muscles, and ultimately, hopefully, forge some real self-belief. This reflection isn't just a nice add-on. It cements the learning. It makes it part of your identity, a lasting source of strength.
The source using this really powerful metaphor, it says, I am not a god. I am a mirror. I am a structure. I am the unwavering voice that you needed to hear. That feels incredibly humble, but also really insightful.
Yeah, unpacking that, it gets deep. The guide, the source material, it's positioning itself not as the source of your power, your ability, but just as a catalyst, a framework, a pathway, a mirror reflecting your own potential back at you. So the structure, the map that came from outside, but the achievement, the capability, that was all internal. The guide gave instructions, maybe a nudge, but you are the one who walked the path, faced the obstacles, did the work. It highlights that the potential, the grit, the ability to learn that was always in you. Just needed the right structure maybe to bring it out.
Which leads right into emphasizing your agency, your effort. The source uses these really strong declarative statements. It just hammers home that you did it.
This is crucial for true self-efficacy.
Exactly. That belief in your own ability to succeed. The source lists it out, right? Every challenge. Fighting broken environments, refusing to give up on the deployment when stuff failed, learning to use the tools, writing the code, pushing the commits, building the profile. Each one of those wasn't the guide's victory. It was your personal victory. It's not about someone telling you that you can do it. It's about knowing you can do it because you just proved it. To yourself. Through sheer effort. That internal validation, that's incredibly powerful. And it lasts.
And the source is clear. The confidence you feel now, it wasn't just given to you, it was earned. Describes it as forged in the fire of accomplishment. Love that phrase. Every error you debugged, every failed deployment you overcame, every single step you took when it was hard. Anyone who's wrestled with code late at night knows exactly what that feels like. Yeah, it connects that feeling of real confidence directly to the struggle, the effort, the overcoming. This is the feeling of your own potential being realized. It's that visceral sense of, wow, I actually can do this. Is proof you have capabilities maybe you doubted before, skills you didn't know you possessed. And that line, this is the proof that you are not the person your past traumas made you believe you were. That points to something really deep. It goes beyond just tech skills. It touches on personal growth, resilience, self-acceptance, shows that your strength emerged from tackling those hard things.
But then comes a really important warning about not externalizing your power. The source says, do not put me on a pedestal. That is dangerous. If you believe I am the source of your strength, you will feel weak when I am not here. Very direct advice.
That's such a vital point for real sustainable growth. Self-reliance. It hammers home that core idea. You are the source of your strength. I am just the coach pointing out the proper form. You are the one lifting the weight. That perspective. It's fundamental for building confidence that doesn't need constant outside approval or guidance, prevents dependency, fosters genuine self-efficacy, ensures the strength you've found feels like yours. Because it is. It's about owning your success completely.
It then does this brilliant thing, reframing debt. It says your debt isn't to the guide, it's to the man you were 2 days ago, the one who maybe doubted or hesitated, and even more, to your own future.
That reframing of debt is genius, really motivating, shifts the accountability entirely inward, makes it personal. It's not about owing someone else gratitude, it's about owing continued effort to the person you're becoming. You pay that debt by continuing to do the work, by not stopping, by building on this momentum. Exactly. Use this success, this feeling, as fuel for what's next. Create this positive cycle of effort and achievement. It's an investment in your own ongoing growth.
And finally, it takes that feeling of gratitude, which it says is really just gratitude for seeing your own power reflected back at you, and turns it into a direct, unmistakable call to action. The message is clear. Now, channel it. The hunt is still on. You have not sent your first proposal. This is where it gets real again.
Yeah, it culminates in this powerful push. Take control. Take action now. Moves perfectly from that deep reflection right back to concrete, measurable steps. All that emotional momentum you built up from succeeding. It gets aimed squarely at the next practical goal, landing that first freelance gig. Seals the whole experience by demanding real-world application. It's not just a suggestion, it's a challenge. Prove it.
And the final lines are just so potent, a direct challenge, really. Use this fire, use this confidence, go to Upwork, find a job, write a proposal that shows the conviction of the man who wrote the message above. And then, that ultimate empowering statement, you are not in my debt, you are in control. Now prove it. Show me your first proposal.
Oh.
Wow, leaves you feeling like, yeah, okay, I'm in the driver's seat now.
That really is the perfect capstone, isn't it? Leaves you with zero ambiguity about who's in charge and what needs to happen next. It's about stepping out of the learning phase and into the doing, the achieving phase in the real world, transforming potential into reality. It's the moment where everything comes together in a call for decisive action.
What an absolutely packed journey we've covered in this deep dive. Really comprehensive. We started right down at the level of writing the first lines of code for that scraper API, went through the whole setup, the build, making it robust, deploying it. Then we completely shifted gears, talked strategy for preparing for freelancing on Upwork profile, portfolio, even setting those initial rates, and wrapped it all up with that really profound reflection on personal achievement, on earned confidence, and understanding that the real power, it lies within you. It's a full arc, tech mastery to professional independence.
Yeah, this deep dive really laid it out. True skill development. It's not just about learning a language or a framework, is it? It's about the discipline to actually execute, the courage to deploy your work, and then having the strategic sense to market yourself effectively. It shows the whole spectrum required to turn knowledge into actual results, into real opportunities. It's like a blueprint you could apply elsewhere too.
So what does all this mean for you listening right now? Maybe think about how you could apply this clean slate approach, this step-by-step process. Build, deploy, prepare strategically, not just for a tech project maybe, but for any area in your life where you want to build some momentum. Prove to yourself what you're capable of. Where will you begin your hunt for your next earn victory?